This is already evening. This is about what's the time? This is 6:55. This is almost 7 p.m. Saturday. So I'm having a live video with my audience today, and the topic is written on the page. Why do women date prisoners? Or why do some women, so we don't act as if we're categorizing every woman, why do some women date prisoners? May not agree that this is for everyone. Yes, there are certain women with decency and they have preference. So we will be asking a question: why do some women gravitate towards dating someone who is considered maybe a terrorist? At least let's just talk about those who actually find themselves in prison. Why do some women actually gravitate towards those men? That's the conversation we are going to be having. So you give me a few time. Let me set up some things. I'm going to be joining you shortly. So please like. I'm joining you. I'm not ignoring. Wow. I'm here. Yeah. Yeah. Good day. Welcome. If you're just joining me live, I would like you can hi me, say hi. Hello and good evening to everyone. Today I'm having a discussion on why do some women date prisoners? And I'll be having this discussion with you all today, give you my own perspective on it. And I understand that if women are part of my audience today, some of you might be able to share a little bit light on it. Oh, that's Nolan. That's Nolan. I appreciate. I appreciate. I'm giving you a shout out. I appreciate you subscribing and liking my videos. Welcome to being part of my fan, being part of our audience, being part of our family. Oh, happy birthday to Leon. Is Leon part of our family? Yeah, part of the audience. Whoever he is or whoever she is, happy birthday to Leon. That's from Valerie Quintero. Am I correct with that spelling? Valerie Quintero. Yeah. So whoever Leon is, happy birthday to you. Shout out to you. And I'm appreciating everyone joining me live. Yeah. Can we proceed with today's conversation, or do we give ourselves some time? Let's just have some moment, and maybe you talk to me about what's going on, how your week went before we continue on today's conversation, or do we just dive into the subject? Every every write-up, every chat is being appreciated, and I acknowledge every single one of it. I would be calling out if you want me to make any shout out. I will be making out shout out. If you have any insight on today's conversation, you're also welcome. We can also look towards your own perspective while we talk about the whole subject. Who is the third person liking my video? Can I know your name? That's Noland subscribed and liked. Valerie Quintero actually asked me to make a shout out. I think she's already part of the family. And the third person, welcome everyone. Um, and also, okay, I'll be doing that. There's no problem. So happy birthday to Sophia. Who is Sophia? To you, Miss Valerie Quintero. Valerie Quintero, I will guess. I could be wrong. I will guess you're a female. And so, who is she to you? Sophia. Sophia is definitely a lady. Oh, Miss Sophia, we are greeting you from the man of thoughts. Every of our audience, on behalf of our audience, happy birthday to you. Long life and prosperity. We wish you the best of luck in all your endeavors. So, ladies, this subject is actually thrown to you guys also while we discuss about today's subject. Why do some women gravitate towards prisoners? And there's a reason why I brought out this topic. I think I've spoken about it in one of my earliest video, and it was an experience that I had at some point in my life earlier this year, around March 4th or March 7th. I was at Ikoyi prison and I experienced a lot of things. I've said the story over and over that I was accused by certain real estate organization, you know, because I was defending the landlords in where I invested my property and when we got some things. So they had to stop me from going against the organization, and I was fighting for certain people in diaspora. They had to lay false allegation and they accused me of um, blackmailing. Yeah, they accused me of threats to life that I said I was going to kill, and there was no evidence. But you know, the justice system we have in Africa, most times, Nigeria specifically, is not always stable or accurate. In fact, someone just had to make accusation and the law enforcement don't need to verify anything, they just take action. So when I was in jail before I was able to get my bail, you know, it has some process. I experienced some things, ladies falling in love with men in prison. And I'm not talking about those ladies who actually have relationship with the individual before he went to prison. Yeah. All right, Valerie Quintero, no problem. Thank you for joining us. No problem. Yeah. So according to what I was saying, I'm not talking about the ladies who actually have spouse and they find themselves, you know, their husband is probably having some challenges, some issues, false allegations. A lot of things take people to jail. Sometimes, you know, there's a man I saw in jail, which is part of the person I probably will be talking about. He was a doctor, and he went to have surgical surgery on a patient. But I think there is a process he did not follow according to the hospital guideline, and he did surgery for that woman. The woman was doing fine, but suddenly that same week, the woman fell and the woman died. And this man is a married man. So he was being held and he was brought to jail. I saw him there in jail. And when he spoke to me, based off how he perceived me, he told me everything that was going on in his life. And what he made me understand was that he had 4 children. In fact, I was giving him certain insights on how he can talk to his children, because based off our discussion, he believed that I knew certain things that I could, advise him on. No one is an island of knowledge. So he was asking for my input because he saw that he wasn't present in the life of his children. He has been in jail for over 2 years. Surprisingly, this same individual trusted his wife. This same individual loved his wife. And I saw that men, in our nature, we love to brag about our women. In our nature, we always want to be proud of our women, because the labor of every man is to have a woman that he can be proud of. I would say this without a shadow of a doubt. There wouldn't be any reason for men to work today if not for women. Whatever we are accomplishing, whatever we are doing, is just so that we can attract the best woman. We want to be proud of our woman, regardless of the fact that we have some boys who are going to turn around and do something very different. So this man has done a lot of stuff with his life. He has been so good with his wife, having 4 kids. But it was so unfortunate and ironic that a time came that I saw that there were this kind of arguments, and some men are talking about their experience and how their wife has turned against them because they've been in prison for over 5 years. And I always tell them this, that if you were the one, how would you have acted? Now, I'm not supporting the women who probably ignored their husband and say that, okay, you're now in prison for 2 years and she steps out of his life. No, if there's a family that you guys have built, if there's something you guys have built on, and this person find himself in this challenge, that is kind of a unique challenge, you have to stand by him one way or the other. It is an expectation, not a law. And this man was now bragging that no one can talk to his wife, no one can toast his wife, nothing can happen. His wife is honest. They believe in God, and this God is the most beautiful thing, and the rest of it. And then there was a guy in the cell there that had the number of the wife, the man's wife's number, and he started talking to that woman. And he was saying that the reason why he was doing it is to prove to that man that his wife is not being honest with him, regardless of the fact that she has 4 children for him. Initially, a lot of people were upset. I was angry because I think that there are certain lines we don't cross as people. But looking at the world of prison, there is no law that governs anyone in prison. You are the one who probably, the individual, dropped his number with that other person who is now chatting up his wife. And you understand one secret about prison cell, that they would always find a way to get phones. Prisoners always find a way to get phones. And so while he was talking to the woman started disturbing this guy. And the woman will leave her 4 children. She doesn't talk to her husband. There was a time they were having issues. Her husband has been in the prison for over 2 years. This woman would leave her 4 children, come to the prison, buy food and buy clothes to give to another guy in the prison, a guy she never had anything to do with in the first place. Just because of the conversation they were having was so interesting that she had to leave. You know, when the husband asked her to come, she would always make an excuse that the distance is too much. But when the same guy who is living in the same prison cell with her husband, they were even lying on the same bed. The guy would ask her to cook. The guy would ask her to buy him clothes. The guy would ask her to do everything. And this woman would ignore her husband, come there, write the name of the guy, because there's a way Ikoyi prison is set, or correctional center is set. And in fact, every correctional center is the same thing. If you are a visitor, you write the name of the person that you came to visit. And so the warders will send an helper to go call the person out. So you and that person would have conversation. The possibility of anyone seeing you guys is probably zero, except you and that person and the warders. So this was how this woman started acting. Sometimes she sent money. Her husband cannot provide for his family due to the fact that he has been in jail. He has exhausted every money that he had. But despite the fact that things were kind of difficult for them, this woman will find a way to raise money and send to a guy who is in jail with her husband that he never knew from Adam. And there's also a story of another woman who I think I will talk about probably at the long run. Maybe we just pause on this particular side and ask ourselves, this is not just the only person I experienced. I experienced about 3-4 women leaving their husband who they've raised family with, who they have children with. And because the man has been in jail for maybe 2 or 3 years, one day they make a decision to ignore that individual and start chatting up someone else from jail. And what is the thing that actually make women, some women, not women, because some women would never do that. What makes certain women gravitate towards that? Let me go through my chat. Okay. Welcome back, Valerie Quintero. Oh, well, I started my YouTube channel, and please, everyone should just pause a little while. I'm just responding to what Valerie Quintero said. She said, "Me and my sister feel bad for me, that is you, because nobody is liking or subscribing." Maybe I would use that opportunity to tell everyone that if you're watching me right now, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe to my channel. But I started this channel, I think last year, October. That was when I started uploading videos. I think I started taking it a little bit serious. And March, stuff's happened, and I came back around May. And between that time, I was having 225 around March this year. And right now I'm over 880 something. So whatever, we have to appreciate God for everything. And I'm grateful for having the kind of people I have. Now, there are some people that have been contacting me through my WhatsApp, and they're like, okay, we are going to help you and we will monetize it, and your channel is going to go very far, and you're going to have a lot of audience. But I told them something. I said, I would prefer to have an organic audience. I don't just want to go viral without having organic audience. This is just going to cost maybe $20 or $30, and I would have been viral. And you would think maybe this guy is speaking from the mountaintop, but it's better when you build your audience. And I think once after maybe 1,500 subscribers, YouTube the engine is going to pick up. So back to the subject. So I thank you very much, Valerie Quintero. Back to the subject. Is there any reason that women think that other women use in gravitating towards that? I can't understand it. Thank you very much. So I can't understand. Can we comprehend? Can we have anyone to teach us or to make us understand the purpose why certain women gravitate towards it? I have certain hypotheses. I'm not sure. I am not in the mind of these ladies. You know, there's a different thing when a woman, maybe you're having a spouse and he's in the prison, and because of biology sometimes spring up, and certain people cannot hold themselves after a period of certain, maybe let's just say a period of time, maybe 2, 3, 4, 5 years. You can't wait for that same man. I wouldn't advise my sister to wait for someone for over 5, 6, 7, 8 years. It doesn't make any sense. If we are being realistic, I know most men are going to be upset when we talk about this and we say that, oh, a woman should be able to hold herself for 4, 5 years. You ask yourself, if you are the man, would you be able to hold yourself for that long? But it becomes very disrespectful, very humiliating to a man when you start cheating with someone in jail, someone who is probably a worse criminal than a husband. That is what I think is very humiliating. And what would make a woman wake up? Because we had this conversation and I saw some people living that same life. There was a woman that this guy used to call, that same particular guy, he targets women. That guy that I said that he was dating the doctor's wife, he had another woman who he was actually chatting up. And this particular woman, she would tell him that her husband is lying on the same bed with him. I don't know how he got that lady's number. I think maybe one of her cousin was once in jail and they used the phone to call the woman. And the guy is fond of something that when you use his number to call anyone, he's going to write down that number. So possibility when you are granted bail and you have done all the necessary things and you are out of jail, he finds a way to psychologically penetrate those women and then, you know, ask them for a lot of things. Some of them will get him phones, some of them will get him clothes, and this is happening over and over. Most times I pity some women that he was able to get. These women tends to be widows. And I don't know if I cannot comprehend the reason behind why women do this. I think women should, those women who actually pay attention to men who are in jail, dating men who are in jail, you need to be very cautious and careful. There is no love from a man who is in jail, who is just trying to love someone from afar, knowing that you are already married and you already had a life that was going on well for you. And probably because things went wrong, you made a decision to choose him over your husband that you have always been with. It's a gamble for them. It's a game. Most men in jail see picking up women or being able to entice women and go into their brain, they see it as them exploring or playing maybe a video game. It's just a video game for them. I was trying to see if we can have a conversation today. Oh, say you probably won't see me again. Bye, bro. Thank you very much. We can always meet again. There is that possibility. So what I'm saying is this: you have to be cautious of those kind of men, because a man who makes a decision to go after women who are vulnerable, who understand that their husband is in a tight corner, and you make a decision that that person, you want to take advantage of the woman needs to be aware that there is no possibility for a prisoner to love you if he never had anything to do with you initially. Most of those men are predators. There was a way this guy was able to get a lady. Maybe I will summarize since I haven't gotten a lot of insight from my viewers and from my audience. There was a lady, the way the guy was able to get this lady, our brother was brought in, he was the barman. He used to do this bar thing in Lekki, somewhere in VI, Lekki, somewhere like that. And I think they had an issue, maybe bottles, this, bottle, that. And the guy was brought to jail. His sister tended to be a police officer. And this is very interesting. He had a sister who is a police officer. And this police officer, this female police officer, she had 3 children. The first husband was late, and then she had for 2, and that one is not with her anymore. But surprisingly, this guy began to talk to this lady and kept on manipulating this lady. She was the one sending money for the guy, for his feeding, for clothing, for every single thing. Bread, you would see very big bread. They are this kind of bread that look like a mattress. She would buy the bread, leave her duty, and bring food for this prisoner that she had nothing to do with, who she knew from nowhere, just because this person called her and she felt, I don't know what emotion they feel on phone. So I would have loved to understand what is in the mind of some women, why they do that. What's in the mind of some women, why they agree to send men from jail. I had every opportunity if I'd wanted to perpetuate that act. But I think that when you have conscience, you ask yourself certain questions. Do I truly love these people? Do I know these people? What do I want from these people? But a lot of people, a lot of guys that find themselves in prison, they become so desperate and they use those women to survive at that particular point in time. They continue using those women to engage, to enjoy their life. In fact, they waste money every single time. You see these guys that are there and they are very flamboyant with the way they spend money. And this is the reason why sometimes I always tell Nigerian law enforcement, specifically EFCC, that you guys are not stopping crime from Nigeria, because a lot of people who are in jail take advantage of those who are outside jail. And if you are holding them because they are fraudsters and the rest of it, they still continue defrauding people. And a lot of them pay attention to women and they take advantage of a vulnerable woman. Maybe she's a widow, maybe she's married. They take advantage of these people. I would have loved anyone to be able to give me their opinion and comment on these things, why women have this kind of thought, so that I probably will be able to understand. We can dig deep in this conversation in our next live stream. So if you're there with me on live, please make sure you comment. I'm not just asking you to comment, I'm just asking you to put in your insights. How does it work? Adiola Olubode. How does it work? I don't know. I don't understand the question. Can you help me rephrase it? So no, no. The woman don't just walk by the prison yard. Now, this is what happened. And falls in love, no. With the prisoner, no. That's not how it happens. I think to that point, yes. Some of them goes that way. And the reason is that the first thing that most prison cells have is they have most correctional center is that they have what we call church. We have a Baptist church, we have Anglican church, and we have a Pentecostal church. So in this Pentecostal church, most of all this redeem and the rest of it, they bring certain people to come in and preach the gospel. Sometimes you are going to see over 20 or 30 ladies moving together. They are going to be guided by the warders. And sometimes they find a way to just get themselves engaged with one of those prisoners in the church and they fall in love. That's not the one I'm talking about, because I believe there is still this particular understanding and conversation that would have gone in the first place that would have resulted to that. What I'm actually saying or referring to is that there are certain women that when their husband found himself in prison and is able to call them with a different line, because I want you to understand this thing. I've said it most times in different episodes that correctional center is more corrupt than outside prison. If you think that Nigeria's system is corrupt, when you go to the prison, you will discover that corruption exists. That's the core base of corruption. So the warders smuggle phones in for the prisoners. They smuggle phones. Now there's a place where every prisoner can make their calls. There's a place the government have set. But some warders will smuggle phone in, maybe through bread, through phones, and the rest, and through food, and put phone and sell it to a prisoner. And when they do, for example, if you bring in someone from outside, that person is just coming into the prison, they are going to oppress that person and ask that person to call one of their family member. In calling their family member, they most likely might call their wife, they most likely might call their sister, they most likely might call any person. And the moment you call with that number, that guy already has it. Because I'm talking about the ones in cell right now. The guys would already have that phone number. And the moment they have the phone number, they can start calling that person when you are not there. So what are the tactics? I just called to hear from you. I want to I am the one taking good care of your brother. I'm the one who is protecting your brother from being assaulted or from prisoners attacking him. And so that woman becomes open to want to discuss how is he doing and all of that. That guy has now have a ground, and before you know, they call that secret love. Before you know, we start talking about love, and the woman will start working her ass off, bringing food and buying things and sending money to that particular individual. And even while our brother is now out of the prison, a lot of them still keep hustling money to give to those prisoners without them understanding their case, because some of them are being convicted and they will be in prison for over 15 years. And they give you the hope that they will be out of prison probably in the next 1 year or 2 years. And they will tell you, oh, I need over 800,000 to get my bail. I need over 1.5 million to get my bail. And those women begin to struggle. Some of them will take money from their husband to give to that particular prisoners. So it baffles me that what is the perception of those women who get themselves engaged with that? What attracts them to prisoners? I'm not saying prisoners are totally bad people. I was there. There's a lot of innocent people there. But when you see someone in that kind of place, the first thing you can just do is you can be empathetic with that person. Not the fact that you start building love, romance with someone who you don't even know the reason why the person is there in the first place. Because a lot of them will lie to you. This particular guy I was talking about that kept taking money from different women, this particular individual was there because of armed robbery. And he confessed it over and over to the people in the cell that he was an armed robber, a professional armed robber. There's a little one I would even put there. One of the people who actually operates armed robbery with him is actually an inspector, a police inspector. So that one was able to get, there's this aspect of bill that he was able to get. I've forgotten the name of that bill. like you have to go underground. He had that kind of bill. So this is the reality. I would love everyone who has their questions and who have insights to why women gravitate towards this. What are their reasons why they think? Do they think that real men are in prison? Maybe it's a perception. Most women think that real men are in prison. Maybe they have that within their brain, or like the woman I was talking about, one of the women I was talking about, that she was a widow and she already had 3 kids and she was buying things. She's a police officer buying things for that guy. In fact, working ways to bail the guy out, which the guy is not coming out in the next 5-10 years. But that particular woman, when I looked at her story based off what she has been telling the guy, she opened up about everything about her life. And this particular person she's opening up to is actually an armed robber and a kidnapper. And if this person is a kidnapper, all he's interested in knowing when he speaks to me about certain things, he's interested in knowing your house, how rich you are. And in the future, perhaps this guy has bail. Do you think you and your children will be safe? Someone who is brought in basically because he has been a kidnapper and being an armed robber, and you are falling in love with him. So he has gotten your details through the phone of the person in jail. Now he's gathering information from you while you're still spending money for him. And at the end of the day, when he's out of jail, perhaps the title of that bill, that same guy would go back to that same thing and is most likely going to use you as part of the people that is going to extort or kidnap in the nearest future. And you're more or less like a client to him. Yes, he made it clear that he doesn't kill. I know about certain people who kill in jail. I don't want to talk about those ones today, maybe in another episode. But I think women need to be careful, because at the end of the day, most of these guys that they are having this relationship with, when they come out, they find a way to take the life of their husband. Perhaps the husband comes out before them. And if they observe that your husband is a rich person or you are a rich person, they don't care about you. If you're thinking they love you, they don't care about you. I would have loved to know what is going on within those people's hearts, the women's heart, but I haven't gotten any information on that. To at least hear certain women talk to me about what they're actually thinking, or what other women should probably be thinking, why they get themselves engaged with that. So I think I've answered Mr. Adeola Olubode's question. I hope you understand how they get them, Mr. Adeola Olubode, with my explanation. Yeah. And this is real. This is real. And perhaps I would just make this clear. Sometimes if they know, maybe I'll be rounding up with this. Sometimes most of those prisoners, when they know that you're part of you're maybe from a rich, wealthy family, and they know they can extort you, and they are thinking of, if I get this person, I can kidnap this person and I can get money from this person. They are going to create that relationship with you, and creating that relationship with you, they want to know your extended families, the ones who are rich, because this guy pour out a lot of things in his mind to make us understand that majority of these things happen based off information. They don't just go anywhere to rob or to kidnap anyone without having concrete information. So apart from women exposing themselves to the dangers of this guy destroying their own life, this is also going to the other side, like the extended family. If you have a brother who is wealthy, a brother who is outside the country, who is probably going to be coming back to Nigeria, and you are hiding a relationship from your spouse, from your husband, because you have created a friend zone relationship with a prisoner who you probably don't know why the person is there. And a lot of them would not tell you the reason. They are going to paint a different picture for you. And now you're jeopardizing large part of your family. You're putting their life just because of your desire to date a dangerous man, or I don't know, the man who has a high testosterone. And if anyone is thinking that prisoners have the high testosterone, I think you're lying to yourself. Because if the diet there is so poor, I don't know, maybe you think he's going to overperform, or you're looking at it as a false confidence. You think it's confidence. It's not confidence. Just because someone go to jail, don't think they are confident. Evil is what goes into the mind of a lot of people when they go there. If you're not conscious enough and strong within your mind, you most likely will be coming out being a terrible version of yourself. So women need to be very careful, and that's what I'll be using. I have a few things that I want to work with right now. Thank you everyone for joining me. I hope today's episode actually makes sense a little bit. So you can comment. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe to my channel. I think I can acknowledge the fact that I know Mr. Adeola Olubode. He has always made comments. You can comment any questions. You can put it in our next episode. We'll be talking about it. Have a blessed day. See you in the next video. Adios, amigos.